Jess, I mean, from the 12 made, you know, quite an impact when it came out, and in, you know, each successive vintage, these wines have really been very well received and you know, received great accolades. How important has it been, you know, for the family and for Yalumba to have this wine out there and to take it to the world and say this is who Yalumba is, you know, in this stage of its long and illustrious life?
I think it took a lot of courage to get us there, because we've always been quite humble winemakers. We've been making wines that, you know, fantastic wines at a certain level, and we've been really comfortable there. So I think it had been the discussion for such a long time about, you know, maybe we should consider making an icon wine. And when we look at some of the greatest wines in the world that we all love and admire, those wines are so celebrated, and Yalumba didn't have something that was up there as a benchmark wine alongside them. So it was this 2012 vintage that gave us the confidence that it was the year to do it. But I think it's really, since we released that 12, it's been so warmly received. Everyone said it was about time Yalumba did this. Yeah. And I think that gave us, I think, the confidence again to go, okay, we've done the right thing. We've paid our dues. We've been making Cabernet Shiraz now for 170 years. Now we're going to make one that deserves to be put up there in lights and really make a statement about what Yalumba is about and what we can do.
It's a very strong statement, and it's an impressive statement. And you're right that, you know, there always had been, you know, this modesty, and then to see this sort of vaulting ambition come out of Yalumba took a lot of people by surprise, really, at the time. But the wines have just consistently proved that it was the right call.
And what we knew was that we were never just going to release any wine. It had to be a fantastic wine that we could stand behind and really proudly bang the drum about. And I think now that we've released the 5th vintage, we're showing that we're serious about it. It wasn't just an opportunity in 2012 that we took advantage of. It was something that we're committed to for the rest of the journey at Yalumba. And I can say I'll be making the Caley as long as I'm here, however long that might be. Let's say 50, 60, 70 years, we don't know. But yeah, the Caley's now become a really important part of our story.
As long as us old fellas get invited back for one of those
yeah,
tastings,
exactly.
Nick.
That's exactly right. Well, I still remember the tasting, you know, where we launched the 2012, and we did it over 3 days of you know, component tastings and everything else, building to
some of the wines. One of the dinners, benchmark legendary wines that we were fortunate enough to taste, which is all part of the fun. But I guess it puts it into context. We wanted this wine to become a great wine of Australia.
And just to go off a tangent, because I remember that dinner very well, just over the lawn here. Was a Valentine's Day, sitting opposite James Halliday, sitting next to Max Allen, and next to Dennis Lilly, who happened to join us for the tasting, and drinking an old Mount Pleasant made by Maurice O'Shea, kindly out of Robert's cellar, and James Halliday saying, you know, his experience with those wines is greater than mine. And I said, James, you know, is this as good as I think it is? You know more about these wines than I do. I said, this is, you know, arguably the best bottle of one of these I've ever seen. I remember turning to Max Allen going, it's Valentine's Day, I'm drinking, you know, a peerless old O'Shea from the 40s, and Dennis Lilly sitting next to me. This may be the greatest Valentine's Day of my life. So I will always remember the launch of the 12 Caley for that, if nothing else.